Affects my test 1 2. Affects my test 1 2.
A very warm welcome indeed to the Central Coast. Here in leafy Lisarow Plume Park is the venue this afternoon as we tick into the final third of the New South Wales NPL Men's 2025 season. A tale of two teams, really, one scrapping for every point crucial in their bid for survival, the other flying high on a 5-match winning streak. It is the Central Coast Mariners playing host this afternoon to Sydney United 58. Pete Pryor with you this afternoon here in round 20. An absolute pleasure to have your company wherever it is in the world you may be watching from. As we mentioned, Sydney United coming into this one absolutely flying. 5 wins on the spin so far for the team from Adenza Park, off the back of a 3-0 victory against another academy side, Western Sydney, last weekend. The Mariners, conversely, coming into this one after a really horror run of form, just a 1 win this season. Although, in perhaps a bright spot amongst all the doom and gloom for the Coast, that win coming against their opposition this afternoon in Sydney United. The team news is in, so let's take you through how each side lines up ahead of kickoff here at Plume Park. Just the one change for Lucas Valela's Mariners, enforced by, well, some transfer activity, which we can bring you an update on very shortly. Rocco Smith out, Shumba Motokoyi in. Full lineup as follows: number 2, Luca Pecora; 3, and captain Michael Paragali; 5, Ben Mewett; 9, Ahmed El Helu; 10, Ayuk Mo; 11, Jai Rose; 21, Muginga Mpota; 22, as we said, Shumba Motokoyi; 23, Lawrence Taylor; 24, Kai Schumacher; and of course, donning the gloves this afternoon, number 40, in goal, Joel Wade. Referee this afternoon, Kelly Jones, signals time on, the whistle blows and away we go. Here for round 20, the Mariners getting us underway, kicking from left to right on your screens this afternoon. We'll take you through that Sydney United lineup as well, of course, in goal. Retaining his spot this weekend, no Tristan Prendergast, still recovering, so Joseph Orlovich, number 31, who has 5 starts so far, 4 clean sheets in amongst them as well. Even if Tristan Prendergast was fit, it would be harsh perhaps on Orlovich if he was to lose his spot. The rest of the lineup as follows: number 3, of course, Bailey Rule; 4, Adrian Vlastelica; 5, Anthony Tomalich; 9, Patrick Antelmi; 10, Carlos de Oliveira; 11, one of the Coast's favourite sons, of course, in Matthew Hatch; 17, another one of the Coast's favourite sons in Michael Glassick; 19, Aidan Milicevic; 23, another Coastie himself, Mason Wells; and 32, the Fijian flyer, Leroy Jennings. Mason Wells on the ball here. Was, in fact, formerly part of the Central Coast Mariners Academy. Spent some time at Central Coast United as well. And he is an absolutely red-hot run of form. 4 goals in his last 4 appearances for Wells, a goal in each, of course. No stranger to scoring at this venue is Mason Wells, and it would be a brave man to bet against him, notching one today. No changes this week for Ante Juric's side. Jai Rose and Ahmed El Helu, a bit of miscommunication, allows Jennings to step in. Pops back out for Tomalich. Now, Rule thought about the shot, thought twice, thought 3 times, and then drives it into the legs of Jai Rose. Glassick affects the resultant clearance into touch. Perhaps not where he originally intended it. We spoke, of course, about Mason Wells' time at the Mariners Academy. Michael Glassick, a former Mariners Academy captain, in fact, as well. Graduating the academy before spending some time in Hong Kong and in Malaysia as well. Came back to Australia midway through last season with Sydney Olympic, and as soon as he heard Ante Juric was moving to Sydney United, he did say there was no place he'd rather be. Raking crossfield ball there from Paragali. Newitt striding forward, able to keep it in play as well. Back with Jai Rose, taken off his toe by Milicevic. Another one who spent some time at the Mariners Academy, as did a left back this afternoon in Matthew Hatch. Scored a brace in the Mariners 2020 NPL 2 grand final win, of course. As well as a goal that went viral around the world in the Australia Cup, where they defeated Upia Leichhardt during the COVID era. Roberto Carlos-esque. Well, if you ask him, he'll tell you it was certainly meant as a shot. Up for debate, I'm sure, even all these years later. Pecora for the Mariners here. Motokoyi in for Rocco Smith, as we said, who has left the club. A mid-season transfer madness occurring already. Mo looking to cut inside and just has his legs taken away. Contact was incidental, says referee Kelly Jones, and De Oliveira emerges with it. Rule Wells now. First time ball for De Oliveira. Rule continued striding forward. He's one-on-one with Motokoyi now. To go back and just reload through De Oliveira, who then has his legs taken away by Aouk Mo. That one drawing the attention of referee Kelly Jones. He's back on that Rocco Smith news. He has moved to St George. I haven't quite received confirmation whether it's St George City or St George FC. I'm sure we'll find out very soon regardless, as this one is swung towards the penalty spot, rising, nodding its goalwards, but didn't really get the purchase on it there, Adrian Vlastelica. Now, Mpota. Always just left behind El Helu. Schumacher stepping forwards. And that one too far ahead of El Helu. Other transfer news departing the Central Coast Mariners was Prayag Thapa just a couple of weeks ago. He's moved on to the Bulls FC Academy. Lawrence Taylor. Sliding one in behind there for El Helu. It's forced him wide though. Does well to link up and find support here, and then clipped in towards the penalty spot. It was just behind Aouk Mo. Little layoff and the strike will come. Pecora, they're screaming for a handball there. It was absolute chaotic pinball in the area. It looked like it may have struck an arm or a hand somewhere in the sequence, but I dare say would have been in a natural position. Yeah. Just having a look at the replay there, it looks like it strikes the back of the arm of Milicevic. But arm certainly down by his side. Certainly the correct call. On we go. As we said, every point so crucial for the Mariners. Here's Rose. Newitt off. That's pretty agricultural. I think we're going to have our first yellow card of the afternoon. We are indeed. Bailey Rule, it looks like. First into the referee's notebook. It is indeed Bailey Rule. This is his second yellow card of the season. The Mariners with a chance to whip something into the area here. Creates a bit more chaos, a bit more havoc perhaps. As we said, their only win of the season so far did come against this side down at Sydney United Sports Centre. Looking to go ahead here, delivery in swinging from Rose. Orlovich flapped at it really. Rising again, Orlovich is bundled off it. Arriving late is Lawrence Taylor, has his legs taken away. It was a ball and all challenge though, and now Sydney United look to transition rapidly. De Oliveira has Hatch supporting. It's a long way ahead of Matthew Hatch, who is quick, but not quite that quick. It's where the Mariners will have to be careful they don't overcommit numbers forwards. Sydney United can be so difficult to deal with. All their pace in transition, of course. Particularly the likes of Leroy Jennings, the Fijian flyer, the specimen as they call him at the club. And Matthew Hatch as well. And Polter rising and able to nod it down to Rose. It's closed down immediately. Sliding in there is Tomalich to great effect. Taylor able to recover the ball that he initially gave away. Turned over to his opposite number 23 in Wells. Now Milicevic. Wide it goes. And then swung in towards De Oliveira. Repelled by Paragali. It's a good ball out, in fact, from Paragali as well. He's linked up with Mpolta, who... That's a good sliding challenge. Well, I thought it was a good sliding challenge initially from Jennings. Kelly Jones unhappy with the contact, feeling that Jennings took away the legs of Mpota before he got the ball. It's been a better start from the home side than certainly they showed last week against Wollongong. That's a flat-ish sort of performance that afternoon. No side really creating anything worthy of note, but Wollongong running away victorious by 2-0 really gifted the victory by the Mariners. Just cheap turnovers, mistakes at the back costing the young academy side. Conversely, Sydney United have been masterful in terms of their workmanlike performances. Victory down at Sydney United Sports Centre the other week. Just a 1-goal innocent against Manly United. But they certainly created a multitude of chances. Here's Mpota, though, for the Mariners. Final touch, adjudged to be off Adrian Vlastelica. Of course, Sydney United, as we said, coming into this one off the back of that 3-0 victory against the Wanderers Academy last week. De Oliveira at Wells, and it's Rose in the area for the Mariners. Couldn't quite dig it out from under his feet. As we said, goal scorers last week, De Oliveira, Wells and Leroy Jennings as well. Here's Hatch, good strength to keep it under the pressure of Mo, and then has the overlapping run of De Oliveira, sliding in as his opposite number 10 in Mo, and didn't really get a touch on the ball there, Ayouk Mo, in spite of his pleas to the contrary. Just a ticking off from the referee for Ayouk Mo. Carlos De Oliveira, well, we know how dangerous he is from set pieces, what his delivery is like. Got a number of players in this Sydney United setup who are absolutely wicked over a dead ball. De Oliveira, it will be to swing this one in. Well, commentator's curse perhaps, not his finest. Milicevic rides a challenge of Rose, links up with Rule, who will then clip it in towards Glassick. Nodded down by Glassick, and drawing the flag of the Lions person on the far touchline. Michael Glassick, ever present for Sydney United this season, has started all 19 matches in the league up to this point. Well, make that 20 now. we said, joining Sydney United, scoring on debut as well, in fact. All the way back in round one in that 2-2 draw against Sutherland. Meanwhile, it's Mason Wells. Sliding into great effect there is Ben Mewett. He's going to have his hands full today, of course, Ben Mewett. The likes of Milicevic and Mason Wells. Run at him for days. De Oliveira will be buzzing around everywhere as well. Let's go back and reload here. From Vlasic to Vlastelica, and now all the way out on the near touch line is Matt Hatch. Jennings trying to stretch the pitch here, stretch the Mariners. Jennings running at Pecora. Pecora diving in and getting nothing. Jennings will get another bite at pulling it back across the face, and it is eventually blocked off. It's not the cleanest of challenges or attempted challenges, that from Pecora. He's usually such a good stand-up defender, just diving in needlessly there. That's not the kind of defending you want to do against someone like Leroy Jennings. Milicevic stands it up deep towards Tomilic. Then they go back and recycle through Rule. Mason Wells just trying to dink one in behind the Mariners' defence, and striding forwards is Ben Mewett. We spoke about his defensive attributes, of course, Ben Mewett, but he's so good getting forward as well. Has such an exceptional motor, the fullback. And there'll be no mixing up him and Jordan Small any further, as he's also had a haircut over the last couple of weeks. Those shaggy blonde locks of Ben Mewett traded in for a much simpler, smarter, cleaner short back and sides. Simplicity, of course, is sometimes the most elegant. Wade eventually hoists it forward towards Mpota, who nods it down. Jai Rose now skipping around a couple of challenges. Good footwork from him, but a cheap turnover on halfway in the end. De Oliveira dropping back and intercepting the pass. We've mentioned a couple of times, of course, how crucial every point is for the Mariners, even more so than some may realise perhaps now. Yesterday's results, of course, saw Mount Druitt getting 3 points over Manly United in that 1-0 victory, putting them 5 points ahead of the Mariners at the start of today's proceedings. Pecora hoisted in towards Mpota. Might just bounce here fortuitously for Rose. It does. Able to find some support in Mewett, who will then stand it up towards Mo. That's as close as they've come so far. Well, in all fairness, it's probably about as close as either side's come, really, in this one. Aok Mo rising at the back post. Perhaps isn't exactly the target man that one may hope for in that sort of instance. Does rise so well, though, does Aok Mo. Will that buoy the Mariners' spirits? It is Sydney United, though, looking to get on the front foot. Picked out by Taylor. Hatch will have it back and then just move it on to Vlastelica. He will shift it on to Vlasic. Now Rule. Milicevic. Wide is Wells. Milicevic thought about the shots, instead sliding one in behind for Wells and tell me. Taken off his toe eventually, though, by Aok Mo, and now El Helu herring after that one. Vlastelica cool under pressure. Hatch twisting and turning and then finding De Oliveira. Paragali touched tight to De Oliveira, and then Aok Mo just bounced up into his arm and judged to be illegally so. I was just having a look at the socks of Carlos de Oliveira there. He's got to have the shortest or smallest shin pads that I've perhaps ever seen at this level of the game. Meanwhile, up the other end we go. Ahmed El Helou, good strength, one-on-one with Classic. El Helou pulls the trigger. Just leaning back as he struck that, Ahmed El Helou. Sailing harmlessly over the crossbar. What about the strength from the Mariners' number 9, though, against Michael Glassick, who's not exactly a shrinking violet himself. El Helou winning out in the physical contest, and, well, the Mariners seemingly on the front foot here. This is much better from the hosts. It's Mewett. Has Wells and Rule for company and evades them both. In fact, winning the free kick there as well is Ben Mewett. Exceptional work. Rose across to take, right on the byline. Just about everyone coming forward for this one for the Mariners as well. Even Pecora and Taylor lurking on the edge of the area, and will be Rose to stand this one in, curling towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Taylor with the strike, Motakoye, and then Motakoye again, juggling the strike. Pops back out to Taylor. All the avenues just blocked off by Sydney United, and this is where they can be so dangerous in transition. It's Hatch looking to burn around the outside of Paragali, who recovers oh so well. Outstanding work from the Mariners captain there, Michael Paragali. Firstly, to keep up with the sheer pace of Matthew Hatch, but secondly, to affect the recovering challenge, not once but twice as well. Antelmi just rolls a challenge of Taylor there. That's all his experience showing there, Patrick Antelmi. Glassick. It's an awfully awkward height for the centre half. Coming together here between Hatch and Mo. Hatch will draw the yellow card, much to the chagrin of some of those in Sydney United colours. I have to say, it did look a fairly cut and dried yellow card. I'm not too sure what they're complaining about here. Yeah, well, it was just a coming together really, but had Aok Mo been able to continue his run forwards, certainly would have put the Mariners in a very promising position indeed. He's back up and about now in any case. Hatch will have to be careful for the remainder of this one, of course. El Helou head up and scanning, assessing the support options. Pecora and then Mo striding forwards, taken off his toe initially. Taylor will look to recover. Recovering, in fact, is Pecora. Driven into the sort of half space for Mpota, who's in behind Vlastelica there. Just a little too much on it, though, for Mpota. Vlastelica, we spoke about all the other Mariners Academy players in this Sydney United side. Vlastelica is, in fact, one of them as well. Many years ago. Here's Tomalic. Hatch now. Plenty of green grass around him. Jennings. Hatch in the half space. Hatch will strike. It looked like it was being dragged wide. It was blocked off in any case. Rule sliding in there to great effect to cut out the pass was Schumacher. Had to get that right as well, because Mason Wells would have been just about in for the chance. Well, this, of course, one of two fixtures for your Sunday afternoon here in round 20 in the State's top flight. If you're just joining us, Pete Pryor with you. Absolute pleasure to have your company. It's Ahmed El Helu on the ball, and it's still deadlocked here at Plume Park so far. Jai Rose now getting forward, looking to try and change that. Not like that, he won't, though. Picked out by Milicevic, and Sydney United, this is where they've probably looked at their most dangerous. Jennings skipping inside, linking up with De Oliveira. De Oliveira will go for goal himself. Joel Wade down to it. It was one of those really awkward ones that bounces right in front of the goalkeeper. Can prove an absolute nightmare. And Wade did just about enough to push it away. De Oliveira creating something out of just about nothing, really. He is so good at that. It's such a great pickup since his move from Blacktown. And he's looking to get in behind here as well. Santelmi, though. Motokoyi takes it away from Antelmi, and then Jai Rose looking to go around the outside of Rule, just running out of real estate on that far touchline. De Oliveira is another one of those who's been just about ever present this season. Just missed the one game, of course, through suspension after a red card. Did open the scoring last week against the Wanderers and wasn't far from opening the scoring here, just as he did at this venue in 2024, of course, February 2024. That 2-1 victory for Sydney United. The other goal scorer on that day, Patrick Antelmi, from the penalty spot, who scored in the reverse fixture as well. It's Hatch bombing forward as he so often does on this near touchline. Pecora with a better challenge that time. Hatch tried to take advantage of Pecora and his running repairs to his footwork. Pecora alert to it. Schumacher. Strength to try and roll off the challenge of Jennings. Winning the free kick as well. Jennings absolutely all over him. As we said, the other fixture this afternoon down at Landon Stadium, Blacktown City playing host to St George City. 17 minutes gone in that one, still deadlocked as we are here at Plume after about 25 or so. It's been a much more composed performance from the Mariners so far in this one, as Milicevic went down in a crumpled sort of heap there. We'll come back for a Mariners free kick. Kelly Jones just waiting, delaying to see if any advantage would accrue for the Mariners. It didn't. Yep, it was the challenge from De Oliveira. A little too much for referee Kelly Jones' liking. And again, nearly everyone coming forward. Motokoyi's just joined the party. Jai Rose to take. Hoisted in towards the penalty spots. Repelled initially. Rose will intercept and may look to strike. Jai Rose! Well, they're knocking on the door here, are the home sides. They're getting closer and closer and closer. That one certainly had the attention and interest of goalkeeper Joseph Orlovic. Not far away. Nodded down towards Antelmi. Motokoyi was always favourite to reach it. De Oliveira. Jennings. Hatch is overlapping. Jennings may just look to go himself. It will be Jennings. Slipped as he struck it. He's just trying to wrap his boot around it and pick out that far corner. Wade was well positioned and able to send the Mariners on a foray forward on the far touchline through Mewett. Didn't really have the direction required on the pass, so smart layoff there from Antelmi. Well positioned was Paragali to cut out the return pass. Mo. Driving inside as he so often does here, Ayok Mo. Now Mpolta just holds it up, goes down under the contact, able to roll the ball or just prod it towards El Helu, but it was too far ahead of the Mariners' number 9. And immediately up the other end we go for Sydney United with Jennings. And again, good one-on-one defending from Pecora. Not diving in that time, just standing up and delaying and then picking the pockets of Leroy Jennings. Motokoyi it is striding forwards. And Pota with the attempted layoff. He's trying to give and go there, I think, with Mewett, but those two just seemingly on a different wavelength on that occasion. Gyros. Thought he'd won the throw-in on that far touchline. Bailey were all keen to just get on with it before anyone really changed their mind. Vlastelica now. Hatch. Milicevic. Always rising. Sydney United, up to this point, seemingly restricted to shots from a fair way out. We've seen De Oliveira, Jennings and now Milicevic all try their luck from that sort of range. And all three players are certainly capable from that sort of range, but it would take something pretty special. Into the final 15 minutes we go for the first stanza here at Plume Park. Fairly even between the Mariners and Sydney United so far in this one. Sydney United, as we said, looking to exact revenge on the Mariners for that 3-0 defeat in the reverse fixture. They might just do that here. Wells, little layoff for De Oliveira. Blocked off initially, now Milicevic. Again blocked off, Jennings. Milicevic again, curling, Milicevic! That is as close as they've come. Joel Wade has been forced into a couple of saves otherwise, but certainly at full stretch there, just to ensure that that one didn't creep inside the far post. Not far away at all, just not quite coming back in time from a perspective or point of view of Aiden Milicevic. Just his 7th start this season for Aiden Milicevic, 7 in a row it is indeed. El Helu is also getting a run of game time at the moment. Pecora clipped in. Just brushing over the head of Ahmed El Helu. Had he made contact there, would have been certainly interesting. You'd expect to see the net bulge. El Helu himself a Sydney United junior as well. Very highly rated by the coaching staff and set up there. Big raps on him in particular from the likes of Glenn Trefiro and Nick Rizzo as well. Had some very kind words to say. Pecora. Here is El Helu on the edge of the area. El Helu blocked by Vlastelica. Schumacher. And then Mewett. Back to Motokoyi. Mariners happy to play keep ball. Just be a little bit more patient rule, or rise, and then picked up by El Helu, and Pota couldn't quite reel it in though. Near touchline is Jennings. Again, one-on-one with Pecora, looking to just burn around the outside of Pecora, who's looking to recover. Jennings still going, and Pecora with a well-timed challenge, and it had to be as well. Jennings was bearing down on goal, taking it all the way to the byline before trying to pull it back. For the likes of Antelmi and De Oliveira. Another corner for Sydney United though. Not quite leading on the scoreboard, but certainly leading in both yellow cards and in the corner counts as well. Whipped in by Milicevic. Very central and a comfortable clearing sort of header for El Helu. No one attacking that. Now Jai Rose has stolen a march on his opposite number 11 there in Matthew Hatch, who recovers well initially. El Helu's overlapping. El Helu will receive. El Helu will score! In the blink of an eye, from one end of the pitch to the other, the Mariners strike at the heart of Sydney United. Ahmed El Helu opens the scoring. And in all fairness, it's no less than the Mariners have deserved so far in this one. Cool, calm and composed from the Mariners number 9. Rolling that one in to the far corner, sending the home fans into absolute ecstasy here at Plume Park.
Go Mariners!
His second goal of the season. We said scored the other week off the bench against Manly United in that 1-1 draw. And his run of games in the first grade setup proving profitable for young Ahmed El Helu. All credit as well, it must be said. A lot of it must go to Jai Rose, the tenacity to win the challenge against his opposite number 11 in Matthew Hatch, and then awaiting support, which did arrive in the form of the Mariners number 9. Picked the pass with aplomb, and then El Helu picking out the bottom corner. Well, that will buoy the Mariners' spirits, certainly. Here's Glassick, though. Well, this time, Glassick has had his pocket pinched by Impolta. No real danger, though. Straight into touch. Chested down by Antelmi, trying to link up with Milicevic. Didn't come off for him, though, and great feet from Ayuk Mo. Skipping past 1, 2, and 3, and then cheeky little nutmeg for good measure as well on Jennings. He's gone down in a crumpled heap inside the centre circle, Ayuk Mo. Coming in for a lot of attention this afternoon. Certainly have deserved a nice ice bath after this one, I fancy, Ayuk Mo. Here's Paragali. Pecora stretching the pitch here. Oh, cheeky little turn as well to escape the attention of Jennings. El Helu. Good strength, and now Mo. Couple little step overs, and then initially skipped around Vlastelica, but not around Milicevic. Paragali. The captain's run forward here from the heart of defence. Still going Paragali. Now Mo. Lawrence Taylor. Always scanning. Head on a swivel, the Mariners number 23. Here he is again. Taken down very late there was Lawrence Taylor. Kelly Jones not playing advantage on that occasion. happy to come back for the free kick as we tick into the final 7 or so minutes here of the first stanza at Plume. Rose is trying to invert and drive inside there. De Oliveira affects the challenge. Benny Mewett. He'll get the return pass as well. Mewett still coming forwards. Pulled back to El Helu. Blocked by Classic. Pecora will pick up the loose ball. Now Schumacher just helps it on. Rose. To the byline. Rose. Towards El Helu. Not quite the same level of composure that he showed for the opener there. Bit of a rush of blood perhaps from Ahmed El Helu on that occasion. It was behind him in all fairness. It was a fairly awkward sort of height as well. Getting a bit of a look at the replay there. Speaking of awkward, that ball forward from Matthew Hatch, drawing some ironic cheers and jeers from the home faithful. Nothing more than friendly banter, of course. Matthew Hatch still so well respected and regarded around the Central Coast. Gosford born, Woy Woy Jr. and Kincumber as well, of course. Another Coast junior here in Wells, striding forwards at the heart of the defence. Wells. It's a low percentage sort of shot, that one from Mason Wells, really. A long way out, probably could have even afforded himself another touch or two, really. Rose. Schumacher. Mewitz. This is better from the home side. The ball speed. Mo trying to flick it around the corner. Hatch alert to it. Saw that shots on target stat just a moment ago. Sydney United firmly in front there. The Mariners' only shot on target, in fact, finding the back of the net. So, Lucas Vallela, I'm sure, we're saying more of the same, please, boys. Milicevic. Wide is Hatch. Stretches to keep it in play. One touch to set himself, second touch to cross, all the way over the byline. Throws his head back in dismay. Does Matthew Hatch. Another one who's been just about ever present for Sydney United in the league this season. This is 19th start, just the one match that he missed in round 17. As we said, so well regarded on the coast, no less because he scored with his very first ever touch in the A-League setup after just 25 seconds. Paragali, well, couldn't quite drive it forward, and driving forward is Milicevic into the area. Good defending, good recovering challenge from Paragali. Good touch from El Helu as well to pluck it out of the sky. Didn't stick the pass though, and now Milicevic. Rule. Just left it behind, did Bailey Rule initially. Picks it back up though and links up with Wells. Milicevic. All the lanes forward blocked off. Still they come here. Classic playing one forwards. Wells twisting and turning and crossing straight into the body of Mewett. And then Rose to clear up. Good strength here from Jai Rose as well. Unable to win the free kick, or win the throw-in, I should say. My apologies. Wells operating as the wall pass there. De Oliveira unable to turn around the attention of his opposite number 10 in Ayuk Mo, and then Ayuk Mo is brought down by Tomilic, legally so. Milicevic just moves it on to Hatch. Really fizzes one in towards the edge of the area. Now arriving is Jennings. And then Antelmi, well, good defending from Shumba Mutakoye. Just his third start of the season in the first grade setup for Mutakoye. Fancy we'll probably see quite a bit more of him now, as we said, with the departure of Rocco Smith to St George. He's got some more defending to do. It's Antelmi! Oh, it's not far away, I'll tell you what. Just didn't quite wrap his boot around it just enough, did Patrick Antelmi. Scored in both fixtures against the Mariners last season, of course, did Patrick Antelmi, both home and away. Both from the penalty spot, in fact, as well. Wasn't too far away from levelling proceedings there. As we tick into the final minute of regulation time of the first stanza here at Plume Park. Dry Rose rising to nod that one on. El Helu unhappy with the contact in the back. On we go. The Mariners with that slender advantage, courtesy of Ahmed El Helu. Flastalitza helps it on to Hatch. Jennings. Hatch and Mo, there's a coming together off the ball there. Meanwhile, Jennings, was a good sliding challenge. Well, I thought it was a good sliding challenge from Luca Pecora initially. Certainly looked to get a good chunk of the ball, but it's got a good chunk of Leroy Jennings there as well. Ayuk Mo getting a very stern talking to there as well from Kelly Jones. And then Milicevic marched back to where the infraction took place. Into added time here at the end of the first half. Well, I didn't see the board go up, so I fancy this might just be about the last chance of the half. Milicevic hoists it into the area, repelled initially, and then hooked clear by El Helu. Jennings bundled off it by El Helu. Exactly the same sort of position as to where the last free kick was awarded. Well, I fancy this may in fact be the final roll of the dice of the half, as this is swept in by Milicevic, and he just perhaps tried to rush it a little bit there. It was all too close to Joel Wade. It's only one person that was going to reach that. And that will indeed be that for the first half here at Plume Park, as signalled by Kelly Jones. Just the one goal in it between the Mariners and Sydney United, 58, courtesy of their main man up top, Ahmed El Helu. All the hard work done, of course, in the lead-up by Jai Rose. Their only shot on target of the first half, and they certainly made it count. Clinical when it mattered. We're after a short break here at Plume Park, but don't go away. We'll be back for the second half in about 15 or so minutes' time. A very warm welcome indeed back to Plume Park here in round 20 on the Central Coast. For NPL New South Wales men's action, the Mariners hosting and currently leading their opponents this afternoon in Sydney United 58. Pete Pryor with you. Absolute pleasure to have your company wherever you're tuning in from. 45 minutes of action to come. Sydney United resuming hostilities here. United, of course, in their traditional red top, white shorts, kicking from left to right for this second stanza on your screens. The Mariners in their traditional yellow and navy, of course. Ahmed El Helu proving the difference at the interval. Assisted capably by Jai Rose, who's got some defending to do here. Wells. Rule. Wells was just a little bit behind him. De Oliveira slaloming, skipping around. I think he's maybe changed his boots at halftime as well, from the looks of it, Carlos De Oliveira. Tomalich spraying one out to the far touchline for Hatch. I think we may have had a change at halftime as well. We'll bring you an update on that as soon as we can, as the Mariners look to go on the march, on the charge forwards. Schumacher, what a save from Orlovich, sprawling to his right. And a strong hand to it to divert it behind. It's a teasing strike from Kai Schumacher, striding forward and driving one. The big wave of the left boot. First shot in anger of the second half, going the way of the hosts. Little variation on the corner. Here is Schumacher. Clipped towards the penalty spot and nodded clear by Vlastelica. A change at half-time. Alessandro Lacalandra on. As this is swung in again. Everyone just left it, allowing it to bounce. Eventually, Sydney United will clear their lines. Schumacher will retrieve on halfway. Pecora now. Shumba Motokoyi. Mewett and then Paragali going all the way back to Joel Wade. Paragali will have it back and carry it forward on the right flank. Sliding one sort of in the half space there, and it was sort of halfway between Mpota and El Helu. Wells just trying to help it on towards Milicevic, who I fancy might play in a slightly more advanced role this half. A change at half-time. It looks like Patrick Antelmi has departed for Alessandro Lacalandra. Ante Juric looking for maybe a bit of a different dynamic, a bit more energy up top perhaps. De Oliveira weaving. Now Milicevic. De Oliveira nearly fell kindly for Lacalandra. Rule. Cross is blocked off by Mewett, who was there in a flash. Behind it will go for another Sydney United corner. Bit of a delay before the restart is eventually hoisted in towards the back post. Rising was Mpota. Mewett trying to complete the clearance. Mo just charging through a sea of bodies, just throwing anything he could at it. And he'll win the free kick as well. Sydney United see themselves with a casualty as well as part of that phase of play. Just trying to make out who that is. Is that Vlastelica? It looks like it is Vlastelica, as he hasn't rejoined his centre-half partner in Michael Glassick at the heart of defence there. seems to be in quite some amount of discomfort. Well, as we said, this one of two matches taking place for your Sunday afternoon. Elsewhere in the competition at London Stadium, Blacktown City currently leading St George City, courtesy of a Jack O'Brien goal from the penalty spot just before half-time. Elsewhere in the league this weekend, of course, Apia hitting Sydney for 6 in that 6-2 demolition job on Friday night. Sutherland and St George sharing the spoils in that 1-1 draw. As we said earlier in the piece, Mount Druitt defeating Manly by 1-0, which makes this one all the more crucial for the Mariners. Spirits FC beating the Wanderers by 1-0. Sydney Olympic defeating Marconi by 2-0. And with Rockdale's 3-1 win over Wollongong, Rockdale retain top spot. El Helu now for the Mariners. Blocked off by Tomalich, who immediately looks to launch it long in the direction of Jennings, who's got a bit of space to operate in here. Eventually joined by Pecora for company. Takes it to the byline, able to deliver to Carlos de Oliveira. Chested down, good piece of control initially. Jai Rose dropping in. Unable to really complete the clearance though. Sydney United forced back to halfway with Glassick. Helps it on to Flastalitza, who's rejoined the field of play. Hatch skipping around the outside of his counterpart. Bursting forward. Edge of the area is Milicevic. Still Milicevic! Good save initially from Joel Wade. Danger's not quite done just yet for the Mariners. Well, now it is just about. And Potter couldn't retain it. Hatch driving the cross straight into a sea of yellow jerseys. That save, how crucial will that prove to be at the end of today's play from Joel Wade? Aiden Milicevic pulling the trigger. It was a decent height for the goalkeeper. Save he absolutely had to make though. Motakui, the press coming from Sydney United. Mariners looking to just play their way through it, and they do. Break the first line of the press initially before being forced all the way back. Joel Wade will sweep it out wide towards Mo. De Oliveira tangling with Pecora. Pecora winning the free kick. De Oliveira is none too happy about it. Options on the bench for Ante Juric also include, of course, Mario Chabot, who himself had a number of years in the Mariners A-League setup. It's Jai Rose who's found a handy pocket of space centrally. Jai Rose! Sensational! Striking right at the heart of the Sydney United defence was Jai Rose, striding forwards, and there was very little that Josip Orlovic could do about the purity of the strike from Jai Rose. Arrowed into the bottom corner, and the Mariners find themselves 2 goals to the good. who's gone from strength to strength this season, has young Dry Rose. Adding goals to his game now as well, just his second of the season. But how crucial could that prove to be when it all comes out in the wash, particularly towards the tail end in the latter rounds, particularly in the Mariners' bid for survival. Mo slipped initially, able to regain his feet and regather it. Lakalandra had a very good fistful of Ayuk Mo's jersey there, right on halfway. It's been a much more confident, assured performance. Much more mature performance from the Mariners this afternoon. And Matthew Hatch has just missed his header, giving Mpota time to deliver. Just overcooked the delivery somewhat, though. Mason Wells dropping in to retrieve. No one forward, though, to receive it from Mason Wells. Motokoyi with time to assess all the options. Newitt's made a handy-looking run on this near touchline. Motokoyi will just scoop it over the top towards Newitt. It's a difficult one to bring under his spell. He does eventually with the assistance of a sliding challenge from Dry Rose, but then has his pocket picked by De Oliveira, who will race forwards. Slide rule pass into the half space for Lakalandra. Blocked off. Good recovering challenge that from Michael Paragali. Again, leading by example, the Mariners' centre half. At the expense of a corner, which Sydney United will take quickly. Little variation here. Wells with the alternate angle, repelled by Motokoyi. Milicevic unable to dart through. Clip forward towards El Helu. Good little layoff that from Ahmed El Helu as well. Now Lawrence Taylor. Tomilic will steal it from the Mariners' central midfielder before De Oliveira gets his legs taken away. A couple of little hacks there. Sydney United understand the urgency of the assignment ahead of them. Jennings. Hatch. Forced backwards. Tomilic. Now forwards for Milicevic. Rule. Sizes up the cross and stands it up into an area where there's no Sydney United players arriving. Only nodded clear as far as De Oliveira, though. Weaves around. Finds Classic. Now Rule. Edge of the area is De Oliveira. Didn't quite get the purchase required. Could have been chaos, though, but for a timely intervention from the Mariners' centre half. And then any further danger, any further progress halted by the assistance flag on this near touchline. Classic. Powerful header forwards. Someone's lost a shin pad in the middle of the park. Mariners don't really care. They're keen to get on with it. Mo. Well, Leroy Jennings, we know how rapid he is, and that's evidence there. Mo was a long way ahead of him. Had a good 5 or 6 yards ahead of the Fijian flyer. Jennings recovering enough to do enough to put Ayuk Mo off and affect the challenge as well. Here's Mewitt. He's pressed quickly by Wells. So Motokoyi will help it all the way back to Joel Wade. Taylor. Little bounce pass there for Motokoyi, and now it's Mewitt. It's Rose, the latest goal scorer now, again darting forward centrally. And Pota, what's cooking here for the Mariners? And Pota! Snappy save from Orlovic down at his near post. Muginga and Pota just trying to creep it inside of Orlovic's right hand upright. Sydney United's young gloveman alert to it. We can bring you an update on that missing shin pad. It looks like it was Kai Schumacher who's just gone back to retrieve it on halfway. Meanwhile, the Mariners with another opportunity here from the corner. Dry Rose it will be to swing this one in towards the back post. Bounces around a couple of times before Orlovic decisively off his line to smother any further chance. Oh, that's a cute little piece of footwork on the far touchline. Matthew Hatch, I fancy it was, who's continued his foray forward still here, slaloming into the area. Matthew Hatch, straight at Joel Wade. It's end-to-end stuff here at Pluim Park. Matthew Hatch, perhaps more familiar with scoring goals for the Central Coast Mariners than against them. With the latest opportunity for Sydney United, Dry Rose has just lost out to Bailey Rule on this near touchline. Milicevic. Ante Juric is readying a couple of changes. Meanwhile, Hatch. Lakalandra lays it back off for Matthew Hatch. Again, trying to just burn around the outside of Pecora. Final touch off Luka Pecora, and those changes for Ante Juric will have to wait just a little bit longer. Sydney United chasing the game here against the Mariners. Corner swung in. Wade gets a fist to it. Rule will strike! Flashing just wide of the upright. Really doing some damage in the Mariners merchandise tent there as well. Sure, the Mariners staff is manning that merchandise tent. Quite thankful for the protective netting behind the goal. We will see that double change now for Ante Juric's side. Tomalic will take his leave, as will Jennings. Mario Chabot enters the fray. Bring you confirmation on that other change in just a moment as well. 14, it looks like Liam McGing has entered the fray as well, and immediately forwards, joined by other big timber, the likes of Vlastelica and Glasic, of course, always a threat. This swung into that massive bodies where Glasic was one of those lurking, knotted down by Wells. The Mariners repel it once more. Back on halfway is Hatch, who will drive it straight back in towards the head of Glasic. It's the head of Mewett meeting it though. El Helu trying to link up with Dry Rose. De Oliveira was there first. Wells inverting, as he so often does, and then driving one into the edge of the area towards Glasic, who'd stayed forward, operating as a makeshift striker. Only momentarily, though. He's dropping back now to resume his usual duties at centre half. Rule. Now De Oliveira. Dry Rose had body position there just in front of Mario Chabot. Chabot with a couple of little chops at the legs of Dry Rose, and eventually the whistle does go. Into the final 25 minutes here at Pluim Park. Lucas Vallela yet to go to his bench. Perhaps one of the most youthful benches I can recall seeing for the Central Coast Mariners as well. Ty McKibben, Angus Reid, Jesse Mantell, Harrison Jablonski and Flynn Richards as well on the bench for the home side this afternoon. Here's Mason Wells though for Sydney United, twisting and turning. De Oliveira trying to lay it off for Chabot there. It's just a little too far ahead of Sydney United's number 8, and Jai Rose just running out of real estate in which to operate on this near touchline. McGing. Vlastelica. So it looks like Michael Glassick will be playing a more advanced role for the final knockings of this one, just in front of Vlastelica and McGing. Did operate quite effectively as a central midfielder for Sydney Olympic upon his return to the NPL New South Wales setup midway through last season. He'll be looking to get more involved in the latter stages of this one. It's Mason Wells, though. Pulled across the face and turned home. They have one back. Alessandro Lacalandra from point-blank range. All the credit must go to Mason Wells for the creation of the chance. Lacalandra off the bench and onto the score sheet for Sydney United. His first goal in the first grade set up this season for Alessandro Lacalandra. And have they found a way back into this one? De Oliveira. Sydney United now seemingly with their tails up. Swept out to this near touch line again to Mason Wells. Was just nearly over the head of Mason Wells, who stretched every fibre of his being to try and keep it in. Only succeeded in turning it over to Jai Rose. Ahmed El Helu, not with the cleanest of passes. Motokoyi with a crucial little toe in there to prevent the ball reaching Mason Wells, who, as we said, has been in absolutely red-hot form. Absolutely insatiable over the last few rounds, particularly has Mason Wells. Scored in each of his last 4 outings. He has an assist so far in this one. Jai Rose wins it in the air ahead of Glassick and able to find Mpota. Now, Schumacher helps it on to Mo. Joined for company by Milicevic, who he initially beats and then goes around the outside of Hatch as well. Still going here is Mo. All the way to the byline and then all the way out. Nope. In fact, out for a corner. Fascinating to see the twists and turns in this one. Long live the Chaos League. I'm sure we're not quite done just yet. Still, as we said, over 20 minutes to go. Jai Rose now with the opportunity from the corner for the Mariners. This one to be swung away from Orlovic towards the penalty spot, towards the head of Motokoyi. And then Mo against the post and cleared off the line in the end before it's eventually hooked clear by Mason Wells. Oh, didn't I just say long live the Chaos League? That was absolute chaos on the goal line. Matter of inches in it, and the clearance straight into the head of De Oliveira, who didn't really know anything about it. The Mariners survive, as did Sydney United just a moment ago. Motokoyi, now Mo. Michael Glassick affecting the challenge. Jai Rose on halfway, harassed and harried by De Oliveira. Paragali, in turn, harassed and harried by Chabot, and Chabot's one out. Glassick will dink one in behind. Bursting forward, still pulled across the face. Lakalandra arriving late, just a fraction of a second too late for Sydney United, and the Mariners living dangerously. End-to-end stuff here at Pluim Park as the Mariners do go to the bench for the first time this afternoon. Lawrence Taylor it will be, who's put in an industrious shift at the heart of that Mariners midfield, as well as Muginga and Porter. On come Angus Reid and Jesse Mantell. There'll be like-for-like changes, I fancy. Angus Reid, perhaps a more defensively minded option there in the engine room for Lucas Valela's side. Still has an excellent range of passing as well, though. Jesse Mantell we usually see deployed as more of a wide option, but he's started this one centrally. I fancy we'll see some rotation amongst that front four, the likes of Mo and Rose, El Helu. Meanwhile, it's Bailey Rule sliding in on Motokoye, illegally so. You'd fancy Ahmed El Helu will remain as the focal point of the Mariners' attack, essentially. Scored the opener, of course, this afternoon. Did Ahmed El Helu, after some fantastic work, some great tenacity shown by Jai Rose, who himself added a second before Alessandro Lakalandra halved the deficit and left this one ever so finely poised, oh so well set up. Towering sort of header there from Glassick, and well, Kai Schumacher bringing down Mason Wells, and there's a few Sydney United players with a few words to say about that as well. Kai Schumacher earns a yellow card for his sins. Michael Glassick keen to get things back on the move. Just a little too early for referee Kelly Jones' liking. Now Glassick striding forwards, linking up with Rule. First touch takes him away initially from Rose. And then Rose eventually taking away the legs of Bailey Rule as well. Another set-piece opportunity here for Sydney United. Everyone behind the ball for the Mariners. Wicked left boot of Mason Wells to hoist this one into the back stick. Into a crowded sea of bodies. Bodies flying everywhere as well, a couple of them hitting the deck. Ayok Mo helped to his feet. The whistle had gone. Joel Wade, no interest in playing short from the restart this time. And it's an easy pick out for McGing. It was a long way away from El Helu. Sydney United look to launch another foray forward, clipped in behind, repelled by Motokoye. It's going to come straight back at them though. Lakalandra, Wells, shimmying, shifting, weaving, twisting and turning. Going down in the area, but contact was incidental. Rule. Back on halfway it is with McGing. Glassick now wants to stride forwards. Rule trying to work their way into the area here. Wells marshalled all the way by Schumacher. Schumacher it is who will turn it into touch. Rule. De Oliveira riding a couple of challenges. Classic now. Rule it is. Now Wells. Corner for Sydney United. You can feel the tension in the air here at Pluim Park. As we said, every point's so crucial, particularly with Mount Druitt's victory, increasing that deficit to 5 points. Sydney United swing the corner in. Again, it's repelled. Only as far as Chabot. Wells. Goes around dry road, still going here. Wells! Very, very good save indeed from Joel Wade, just about at full stretch. Mason Wells just trying to roll it into that bottom corner. Joel Wade down to it quickly enough to turn it behind. Again, it's swung into the edge of the 6-yard box, and the strike will come from Milicevic. That is his sort of range, but just got that one all wrong. Leaning back as he struck it, and it was always rising. Ante Juric may just use the opportunity to go to his bench again. We do have a Mariners player down in back play requiring some treatment as well. Well, that may, in fact, yes, indeed, that was Aidan Milicevic's final involvement in the game. Thomas Marco on in place of Aidan Milicevic. Bench just about emptied for Ante Juric now. Still has Stefan de Robillard on the bench as well. Joel Wade resuming hostilities here, launching it over halfway, rising his rule, flicked on around the corner by Mason Wells. Didn't get the direction he perhaps intended or wanted. Mariners still have options on the bench, including Ty McKibben, Flynn Richards, Harrison Jablonski as well. All of whom I'd fancy would quite likely be playing a substantial part in the following under-20s match, which is scheduled to kick off here at Pluim Park at 5 o'clock. Full day of action here at Pluim Park as well, of course. All the juniors, 13s through to 18s in action, as well as the Mariners Women's Academy. Hoisted in by Bailey Rule. Lakalandra and Mako both blocked off. Motokoyi trusting his goalkeeper's feet. Drive it forwards. Chested down by El Helu, linking up with Mantell, and Mo is racing forward on the far touchline. I fancy that Matthew Hatch may just get there ahead of him. He does. Matthew Hatch favoured to reach that one. He certainly had body position. Orlovic will send it forward once more. Mantell in a little tangle on that far touchline. Straight out into touch. Final touch off Jesse Mantell. And well, a yellow card there issued by referee Kelly Jones. It looked like it went in the direction of Michael Paragali, who sort of looked around and shrugged as if to say, who, me? Yes, you, in fact. So we believe. In any case, we'll try and bring you confirmation on that one, of course. Meanwhile, El Helu, a little layoff to Rose, who couldn't quite retain it. Wells. Sydney United with the Lions' share of possession as they look to get something out of this one here. And Jai Rose is brought down somewhat cynically by Rule. Ben Mewett urged to get on with it by Kelly Jones, and he duly obliges. Reid will have to be careful here. Schumacher's tied himself up in knots and then recovered ever so well to effect the sliding challenge. It's one he probably shouldn't have had to make, but when he did have to make it, he made it with aplomb. Very good recovery. But it's forced a turnover in possession. Well, is that the curse of the commentator striking? Who's to say? Chabot was racing after that one, but all too far ahead of Sydney United's number 8. As the sun sets behind us here at Pluham, 10 minutes of action remain. McGing helps it on to Vlastelica. Classic dumped off it by Angus Reid. Referee Kelly Jones just waited to see how that one would play out. No advantage for Sydney United, so we'll come back for the free kick. Classic. Chabot just trying to force the pass somewhat. The Mariners emerge with it. Mantell. Classic. Trying to spray one out to that far touch line in the direction of De Oliveira. Just a little too far ahead of Sydney United's number 10. A layoff from Lakalandra. Weaving forward was Chabot, and he's won the corner as well. Another chance for Sydney United to cause some chaos, some mayhem in the Mariners' box. That swung in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Plenty rising for it. Sydney United absolutely howling for a handball. Referee Kelly Jones completely unmoved. Jai Rose striding forwards. Eventually bundled off it. Just a throw in. Wells stepping inside and delivering towards the edge of the area. Little layoff as well. The strike arriving from Chabot. It was a handy layoff indeed from Michael Glassick. Chabot not quite with the finish to match. There is another Mariners player down in back play as well. It's all a bit frantic at times. Mariners have remained resolute in their defensive stance. Sydney United, as we said, found themselves 2 goals behind. Ahmed El Helu opening the scoring for the Mariners. They doubled their advantage in the second half through Jai Rose. Alessandro Lakalandra it was who came off the bench to prod one home from point-blank range. Now, the Mariners wanted to make a change there. They were down to 10 temporarily. It looks like they're back to their full complement now, though. But it's Mason Wells bursting into the area for Sydney United, shifting onto his left and pulling the trigger and sending it into the clubhouse behind the goals. Fancy it's taken a touch on the way through. It has indeed. Mariners are going to hold off on that change for the time being. Sydney United look to swing this one in once more. Hoisted into the area. Wade gets a fist to it. Anywhere will do. for the Mariners. It is another corner, though. Wellsy take it, is the cry. Little variation on the corner, taken short by Wells and then swung in. Not and clear at that front post and then not and clear at the back post. Chabot, Rule from a long way out. Mako. Rule will retrieve it. Wells. Crossing with his perhaps non-favoured right foot. And winning the corner. It's corner after corner after corner after corner here for Sydney United. The Mariners have passed each examination so far. This one is swung in again. Wade gets two very good fists to it that time. Rule maybe thought about the shot, instead opts to lay off to De Oliveira. And now Mantell emerging clear, linking up with Rose. The Mariners looking to get forward on the counter. It's El Helou in behind. El Helou shooting. El Helou hitting the post. How did that stay out? Josip Orlovic with a very good one-on-one save to deny Ahmed El Helou's second, and what would have surely been about the ice in the game for the Mariners. But El Helou denied by a matter of millimetres, the width of the post. Fancy maybe going and checking the goalposts here at Plume to make sure that they are up to regulation. Just had confirmation from one of the ground staff here at Plume Park that they are actually up to regulation, up to code. So thank you to the very helpful grounds people here at Plume Park. Meanwhile, live action, Thomas Mako striding forward. Wells fizzed in at the feet of Glassick. It goes down. All eyes on Kelly Jones. We felt that Michael Glassick went down a little too easily there. No real sort of complaints from the Sydney United playing contingent. And on we go. Sent forward, and again, towering header from Michael Glassick. Up into the night sky it goes once more. It looks like McGing maybe just lost it momentarily. Jesse Mantell trying to affect the challenge, but Mason Wells, a little dink over the head of Motokoyi towards Lakalandra. Joel Wade will retrieve it. Into the final 2 minutes of the regulation 90 here at Plume. Joel Wade thought about playing short initially and then second-guessed it. Pops out for Jesse Mantell. The two number 17s there, and Mantell and Glassick going at it. And good little neat interplay there. Sees Mantell emerge with it, only momentarily though. Gus Reid back to Motokoyi, and then all the way back to Joel Wade. Motokoyi and Mason Wells are having a little tete-a-tete off the ball there as well. Mewett immediately pressed by Bailey Rule and forced back again to Joel Wade, who will send it forward with interest in behind the Sydney United defence, giving Orlovic something to think about, and then, off the ball. Flynn Richards has been brought down by Josip Orlovic, and he is off. Josip Orlovic lashing out at Flynn Richards, who had only recently been introduced, and he sees red for the final minute here at Plume Park. Absolute chaos. We said that there was just about certainly going to be another twist in the tail here at Plume Park. There certainly has been. Now I'm just trying to go back through my notes here and check if Ante Juric in fact has any substitute windows available left to him. Because Thomas Marco is on, Chabot is on, Lakalandra is on, Liam McGing is on. I don't believe Lakalandra came on at half time, so that doesn't count as a substitution window. Well, Flynn Richards, only just a matter of moments ago off the bench and immediately getting inside the head of the Sydney United goalkeeper. And I can just hear Flynn's dad, Wayne, in my head at the moment saying, typical Flynn. Adrian Jamie Bazina, the reserve goalkeeper. Coming on to see out the final few moments of this. I fancy we'll see a bit of added time now as well, amidst all the chaos. Now, close consultation between referee and linesperson to see what the end result of this is. Of course, following the red card to Josip Orlovic, there'll be a Mariners free kick. How will we get proceedings back underway? A drop ball, perhaps? Or will it end up as a penalty? Well, the players look set, expecting the penalty, and Sydney United, a lot of hands thrown on heads here as well. Ahmed El Helu is expecting a penalty. And if it is, indeed, a penalty kick for the Mariners, of course, they will not get a better chance than this to ice the game. Confirmation that Bailey Rule has been the one sacrificed in place of Bazina, the reserve goalkeeper. Sydney United will have to see out the dying embers of this one with 10 players and a penalty to contend with. Ahmed El Helu with a chance to ice the game for the Central Coast. Scored the opener here, of course, with absolute composure and maturity. Ahmed El Helu being made to wait. It's saved by Bazina initially and then turned home. Ahmed El Helu strikes once more. And that could be that for the Central Coast Mariners. El Helu was made to wait. The initial save was a very good one from Bazina, plunging low to his left. But there was very little he could do about the follow-up. Ahmed El Helu, quickest to react. And the Mariners restore their 2-goal buffer. And now El Helu, as we get deeper and deeper into time added on here, is needing some treatment. And Lucas Villela may look to go to his bench as well. Has Ty McKibben and Harrison Jablonski available to him. El Helu is back to his feet, but very gingerly indeed. I fancy a touch of cramp for the Mariners' number 9, who's deserved to find his way onto the score sheet, and he has done so twice today. And it will be that double change for the Mariners. Harrison Jablonski enters the fray. Ahmed El Helu, that will be his final involvement, prodding the ball home. Mason Wells, perhaps one last chance here for Sydney United. It's knotted behind at the far post, and it's another Sydney United corner. As we get deeper and deeper and deeper into time added on. Didn't see the board go up, so fancy we'll see a few minutes of it though. Amidst all the chaos, the red card, of course, to Josip Orlovic and the resultant penalty. Corner delivered low towards Wells. Strike is blocked off and then nodded clear. Only as far as Chabot. Chabot fizzing one forward and just a little bit too much pepper on the steak from Mario Chabot there. Just overcooking the pass. Behind it goes and giving the Mariners a chance to soak up some more valuable seconds in this one. Well, the Mariners will be asking if they can play Sydney United every week. As we said atop the broadcast, their only other victory so far this season coming in the reverse fixture down at Adenza Park. They've been good value for it so far today as well. It's another towering header from Glassick, but there's no one latching onto it. All too far ahead of Lakalandra, and Motokoye happy to send it back over halfway with interest and into touch. Richards made a darting run on that far touchline. It never reached him. Mariners will have the throw though. Does eventually find its way through to Richards, who lays it off. And then, that's a interesting sort of challenge. The whistle had gone, so it was well after the fact. Flynn Richards again at the heart of it. McGing. Every touch being cheered by the Mariners. You can see just how fired up Harrison Jablonski is there. Cutting out the pass and celebrating like he just scored the winner. Why not? Sign of the confidence of some of these youngsters. To what has been a very tough season for the hosts. Few would begrudge them something to cheer about here. Glassick gets it back underway. Moves it on to McGing. Sizing up the delivery. Just stood up towards the penalty spot and then nodded clear by Motokoye. Again, swung in and again repelled as far as McGing and then sent forward again by Vlastelica. I think Glassick realised he was offside. Into touch on this near touch line, and the Mariners will be in very, very little hurry, you would feel, to take the resulting throw. All eyes on referee Kelly Jones. Wells, inside it goes. Glassick is harassed and harried all the way in the final touch off a Mariners defender for yet another Sydney United corner. There's some tired legs out there. Some tired bodies. Mariners need to maintain their concentration. Will be the in-swinging delivery again. Stood up towards that back post. And again, hoisted clear as far as Matthew Hatch, who will send it back with interest. Nodded on by Glassick. And Wade, always favourite to reach it and pluck it out of the sky and then send it back from whence it came and then some. Bazana will retrieve it. Hatch. Loose touch on the far touch line. Tired legs, tired looking touch from De Oliveira, who's got through a mountain of work this afternoon for Sydney United. It appears though it may have all been in vain. Chabot tussling with Schumacher and winning the free kick as well. Schumacher nearly with a cartwheel at the end of it. Looks like he's cramping up now as well, Kai Schumacher. Hardly any surprise. McGing. The little set two with Harrison Jablonski there as well. Strike from De Oliveira through a sea of bodies. Joel Wade plunging on it and smothering the chance. Well over the 100-minute mark here at Pluim Park. And that will be that here in round 20. And you can perhaps hear just how much that means for the hosts this afternoon. A crucial 3 points against Sydney United for the second time this season. In a much, much improved performance for this young Mariners side. Ahmed El Helou opening the scoring in the first half. A cool, calm and composed finish into the bottom corner following some excellent work from Jai Rose, who then, in the second, doubled the Mariners' advantage. Sydney United made it interesting, courtesy of Alessandro Lacalandra, following excellent work from Mason Wells. But it was to be the Mariners' night here at their home venue. Ahmed El Helou adding a second and icing the game after Josip Orlovic conceded the penalty and was sent off in the process for Sydney United. The Mariners return to their home venue next weekend in what is an absolute relegation six-pointer as they play host to Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Just 2 points separate those two sides at the foot of the table as it stands. Sydney United themselves return home on Sunday afternoon, also at 3 o'clock, as they play host to Spirit FC, as they look to continue their charge for finals. But from all of us here at Pluim Park, that does bring to an end round 20. It's been an absolute pleasure having your company this evening. From myself, Pete Pryor. I'll see you all next time. It's bye for now.